Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. In this video, we are going to be trying to predict the All Blacks starting lineup that is going to be taking on the Springboks this weekend. But if you do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is going to be round 5 of the Rugby Championship, the 100th Test match between the two sides. Going to be a very exciting occasion. And for this special occasion, I have once again got my guest, Rugbyitch. We are going to be trying to predict these starting lineups. Last week, was able to get myself just a little sneaky win. So now in our series, sitting 5-0 up. What are you going to do in this one to make sure that this one is a guaranteed win?
He's crushing me. I have to get at least one. I have to get that victory on the line. But I think for this week, I think you guys would also agree that for predictions for this week, I think would be slightly easier. Also because it's Springboks versus All Blacks. So I would assume both teams would obviously go with their best teams. So in our case, it should be. This is probably our best round maybe out of this predictions game so far. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We just don't know. I mean, it's going to be good.
Because, of course, even though I am sitting 5-0 up, we did bring in the rule. That is, if one of us gets the lineup 100% correct, it is a guaranteed straightaway win of the series. So you still have a chance in these two games for you to be able to steal this one into the final moment of the competition. But nonetheless, we will get straight into that front row. Who have you decided to go with for this match up against the Boks?
So yeah, I've gone with the you could say the tight and trusty. Obviously, I think just they have to go with their best three really, and I think they've gone with these three the most out of the front row so far. So for that reason, I've gone with George Bauer at number 1. I've gone with Cody Taylor at number 2. And I've gone with Nepal Lala at number 3. I believe this is like the combination they've gone with most times. I believe against the Wallabies. I believe obviously they have switched up later on, obviously against the Pumas. But I do believe this is their best combination so far.
Alrighty, so I've got just the one change, and it is in that number 1 jersey. I've gone Joe Moody number 1, number 2 Cody Taylor, and then number 3 Nepal Lalala. So we have got a pretty similar one in that regard, just switching between the two Crusaders. Loose head props there. So now to locks, and I have decided number 4 jersey. Think it is almost straightforward at this point. Yeah, it is going to be big. Brodie Retallick has never lost a game up against the Springboks. I believe it is 10 wins and 1 draw for that man. So he's got to be out there somewhere, surely, for the All Blacks. In that number 4 jersey, I have put him at. And with him, speaking of Crusaders, I have decided to go with Scott Barrett.
Yeah, I've gone with the exact same as you, man. I think it is the clear option to go with because obviously with Tupolota, obviously with Valet playing last week against the Pumas, I think they're going to go back to their best, you could say. And obviously against the Springboks, you want to go with the two Crusaders, Locks, who obviously have a ton of chemistry together. So, yeah, it just makes a ton of sense.
Right. I didn't realise that Brodie Retallick had some of the Crusaders recently, but maybe one day,
Oh, yeah, of course. What about? But it's one of those where I think he does play a lot with Barrett in recent years, and obviously with Whitelock as well. Obviously not available. I think it's the best combination they can go with for this game.
Yeah. Although Vail picking himself up 2 tries last week as well. We will have to wait and see whether or not.
I was loving it because obviously, if you guys don't know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Vail, and I think he should be. He's in line, I think, to be like the next, you could say, lock. Obviously, he's the youngest lock, obviously, so far in their selection. So he's definitely in line to be with the All Blacks for a long period of time. So yeah, I'm just happy. Obviously, he's got off you could say, his career to a good start. Getting 2 tries. So it's very happy. Very happy.
We'll have to wait and see whether or not that number 19 jersey is going to have his name on it, or whether we have decided to go with someone else. But for loose forwards here, who have you decided to go with for the loose forward jerseys?
Yeah, so this was a tough one. I had to make a few switches within this one, obviously, from last week. But I do believe we both will have the same number 6 with Akira Leone, obviously, returning back into the side. I think he has kind of one. I think it's nailed down. I think that place now for him. He's essentially the number 6 now. I think he's kind of stolen it off Shalin Brazil, obviously. Yeah, I'm just excited as a Blues fan that he has that starting place now. But yeah, he's obviously I've gone with him at number 6. For number 7, I have gone with the likes of Artis Sevilla. I do believe that's his position. It's one of those where I would have gone with Dalton within this position, but I do believe Sevilla actually, that's where his best position is, and I do believe they should be playing him more often there. So I've gone with number 7, and at number 8, I've gone with Hoskin Satutu. So it's a bold call, but I'm hoping that it pays off. But we'll have to wait and see.
Alrighty, very bold and very identical to what I have decided to go with as well. I've got Ioane, also Adi Siavia at 7, and then Satutu will be slotting in at 8. I mean, Akira Ioane, it is very tough not to have him back after a week off, isn't it? The fact that he's got the most defenders beaten in the competition, also tied with the most clean breaks with his brother of all people, Rika Ioane, who I'm sure we will be seeing in our later stages when we get through there as well. But yeah, he is going to be one of those players that up against the box, that physicality that he can bring to a game. Him alongside Artie Savio as well, just being able to bring it. And then Hoskins Satutu, dangerous off the back of the scrum, and also very good with the support run, which will be important for the All Blacks in this game also. So now 9 and 10, I've got the honours. 9, I have decided to go with TJ Perenara once again. Ooh. And I believe that will be the change because your reasoning last week does it lead to someone else possibly being there. And then number 10, I have switched it up and I have gone back to Beauden Barrett rather than Damian McKenzie, who did play up against the Pumas.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said beforehand. I have gone with Brad Weber. I've stuck with my sayings beforehand within the previous videos we've done. So, yeah, I do believe they'll go with Brad Weber maybe for both of these games. We'll wait and see. But, yeah, obviously I have gone with Beauden Barrett as well, returning back into the starting lineup. So, yeah.
Alrighty. So now, tell you what, we'll go to centres because I think centres is one of those interesting ones that we may have a difference here.
Yeah, I agree. This is I think in my opinion, this is probably the hardest position I had to select out of the back line. Because you could either go with the tight and trusty with Havili and Angelo Brown. You could go with maybe Quintapai and Reiko once again, as in my opinion, I thought they did pretty well against the Pumas, but I have gone with the tight and trusty, so I have gone with Havili and Angelo Brown as my two centers at 12 and 13. So I'm hoping I feel that they're going to put Reiko in, and this is the one thing that's going to hurt me so much because he's been playing so well there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do Havili and Reiko, but I am going with Havili and Angelo Brown. That's what I am going with.
Okay, so that's now making me very curious to know where you have decided to put Ioane. Maybe a little bit out on that wing or maybe on the bench. But for myself, I have gone with David Havili at 12, and I did put Rika Ioane at number 13. I think that combo worked pretty well in the earlier stages of the Rugby Championship. And that pace as well of Rico. He is dangerous out on the wing when he has got that pace, but I'm going to put him at 13. I think that Fozzie might be considering having him there, although it could easily be proven wrong by when we talk about our wingers here. Because for myself, I've gone with a little bit of a change in that regard. Number 11, I've given it to Sevu Reece. And then number 14, I am going to be giving it to Will Jordan.
Yep. I have done the exact same thing. I've done the exact same thing. I think it's one of those where you have I think we both didn't want to go with George Bridge because I think he's like the obvious option. Obviously, we've always said this beforehand, but he's realistically really the only 11 there is who consistently plays. Obviously, you can say Reiko if you want to, but George Bridge is really the only option. But recently, Ian Foster's obviously put Sevu Reece at 11, and he's done that. He did. I think that was the first time he did that was against Fiji, I believe. And it worked out pretty well, actually. So that's kind of what it came back into my mind. So for that reason, I went with Sevu Reece at 11. And of course, like you said, Will Jordan at 14.
And also, if they do decide to go with Umkosi once again for South Africa in that number 14 jersey, George Bridge, he's got a little bit of pace, but he doesn't quite have as much. Well, no one really has as much as Umkosi. Let's be honest, he is a very fast individual. But Sevu Reece, I think, will have more chance of being able to chase him down in a foot race rather than George Bridge, who has actually had a couple starts in a row. So perhaps he will be due having a rest in this game and then maybe come back for the second. So now we have only got ourselves the fullback left in the starting lineup. We haven't agreed the last 2 weeks, I believe it is, for the fullback. Who have you got this week?
I swear, if you don't go, I mean, I have to go with my guy once again, Damian McKenzie at 15. Are you doing it once again? Tell me.
I've once again gone with Jordy Barrett. So 3 weeks in a row.
Why?
We have disagreed in that regard.
Mate. I mean, to be honest, you've gone right, I think 2 times in a row so far. So
surely it can't be 3 though, get it?
McKenzie has to be 15. That's the thing is that I'm just thinking obviously based on form, but it's one of those where if you're going to put someone at 15, I'd rather have McKenzie than Barrett. Only because I think Jordy Barrett dropped up recently within the last year. I'm only thinking back obviously from, like you say, Super Rugby form, but I think McKenzie just was much better. So yeah, I think McKenzie, he has to be 15. He has to be 15. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I've gone with Jordy Barrett here is because of that high ball. I feel like South Africa once again will go with that kicking game a little bit more often, and having the frame of Geordie Barrett going up for that high ball, I think may be a little bit more effective because Damian McKenzie, he's still very good under a high ball, but he is about 7 inches shorter in that regard. He's got a little bit higher to spring for the high ball there, Damian McKenzie.
I think McKenzie's got as good as Geordie Barrett in collecting high ball, by the way. In the recent years, he's just done. I mean, in that Chiefs season, like when they got to the final against the Crusaders, I was just like, oh, man, he did everything correct, everything, and I was just like, I don't normally say that about every player because like you could say even like with like Mwanga at times, like when he had that season against the Blues where I believe it's like where the Blues scored, I believe, and then like the Blues missed, I think it was Ontario Black, he missed the kick, and then from there, Richard Mwanga did like a little kick, and then he got it himself, and he just ran past everyone. He was brilliant that season, but the one thing with that game was that you could tell that he wasn't good in finding a pass. It was the one area of his game in that period of time where he wasn't good in finding a pass, but everything else he was brilliant in. But McKenzie in that season was just everything went to him. So that's why I think he's really massively improved within his catching. But
right, well, I have a good question as well. It isn't worth any bonus points for this one, but who are you giving the kicking tee to in this match? Who's your kicker?
I mean, personally, if I'm putting McKenzie as my 15, I'm giving it to McKenzie straight away. I'm not giving it to a couple of things with Bowden, and we've even seen this within like some of the games. Like he's missed a few kicks. I mean, he's done better in some. I think it was the first test he actually did pretty well against the Wallabies, but I think it was the second and third where it was a bit like he missed some kicks, and you're back to that kind of same question if he should be taking kicks. So I think for that reason I would go with McKenzie. I think for you as well, would you go with Bowden Barrett the kicker?
I would actually, for having Geordie Barrett in that starting lineup, I would actually be going with Geordie Barrett as my kicker.
I agree.
And it also opens up that opportunity of from about 50 out if you have got that one. Although McKenzie struck it beautifully, that one from halfway from a little while ago.
I think McKenzie, in his game, he's just got better than Geordie Barrett in every bit of it. Like in the past, I would admit, Geordie Barrett was the far better kicker from long range. He could kick from like what? I believe it was like 63 was his furthest kick, if I'm not mistaken, like meters and all that. But McKenzie now, like in that season, he did everything correct, and he was just like, I'll be so surprised if they don't go with McKenzie against the All Blacks, to be honest, against Springboks, of course. We'll see what happens.
Alrighty, so now that we have finished with the starting lineup, we have got ourselves the reserves. Now, we had a lot of changes compared for, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we had all 8 different names there. Last week, we had a few agreements in there overall, but this time, I am going to say my number 16, 17, and 18. 16, I've given it to Samisoni Taukei'aho. Number 17, Carl Tuanukuafi, and then number 18, I have gone with another Blues player in Ofa Tuangafasi, and I had to give it to Samisoni Taukei'aho for that number 16 jersey, just because he played that last match very well, I thought, up against Argentina. So I'm willing to give him another start. And normally I would have it as a suffer more the bulldozer. I just absolutely love watching play. I have decided that this week Samisoni Taukei'aho goes a little bit above it, which I feel like is a very big call there in that regard. But I did decide to go that way there.
Yeah, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant against the Pumas last week. He was. I think he got man of the match, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got man of the match. But, I mean, for me, although I actually have gone with a sophomore as my number 16 option, I do believe he'll get an opportunity within this game. Obviously, he was, I don't believe, included in the last one, as Cody Taylor was off the bench for the last game. So I do believe he'll get a chance within this game against the Springboks. For 17, I've also gone with Carl Tuanukuafi. I do believe he's the best option within that position. And I've also gone with Oscar Tuanukuafi at number 18. So I've stuck true to my Blues boys.
Alrighty. Yeah. So number 19, number 20, there could be another appearance from a Blues boy possibly in that 19 jersey, depending on what you've decided to go with. And also actually number 20, have you gone with almost an all Blues bench here?
No.
In there.
I've gone with a different team though for both players. I've gone with both Chiefs players.
There we go.
So I've gone with Tupa Vale, of course, at number 19, and I've gone with Luke Jacobson at number 20. And I feel like Luke Jacobson just makes more sense because he obviously covers more positions. Like he can literally play any of the free loose forward positions.
Yeah.
I normally would have gone with Ethan Blattler because he always does good off the bench. They've kind of done that in previous games, but I believe Luke Jacobson does deserve an opportunity to come off the bench for this game. I think he's earned it. So for that reason, I've gone with him. And then Tupaval, I just had to go with him because I thought he was very impressive against the Pumas last week.
And I've done the same. I've also got the two Chiefs players there. Tupaval. I felt like the way that he played, because Tui Pilotu also had a very good game last week. But I decided Va'ai would be that kind of younger blood that they decide to just throw in there, because another one that's kind of come into my mind is Ethan de Groot. We keep on putting him in that number 17 jersey, except for this week. But I don't believe this will be the time that they decide to give him a run, but that could be backfire there, of course.
Yeah, they might do it next week if they win. So
yeah, so I decided Va'ai as my number 19, and then I've also got Luke Jacobson, as he's been in some very good form, and like you mentioned, covers all of the positions in that loose forward trio. So now the next trio, I've stuck with all Chiefs players. 21, Brad Weber. 22, Damian McKenzie as my fly half cover. And then at 23, I've given it to Anton Leonard-Brown.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense, obviously, because you've gone with Reiko at number 13 with Havili, right? For the center. So, yeah, I mean, it does make sense. For me, obviously, I have gone with TJ Perenara off the bench. I haven't gone with Finley Christie, which you never know if he could get a start or even come off the bench. But I've gone with TJ Perenara. 22, I've had to go with Tony Barrett. I wanted to go with a center and winger / fullback, but I played it sensible, so I went with Tony Barrett to number 22. And at number 23, I went with Reiko Ioni, as obviously he can cover a lot of positions. So I thought it was just a smart way of doing it.
Alrighty, so we've got a few changes there. Our full-pack, very similar. Indeed, I believe we've only got that one difference in the number 1 jersey. But other than that, there are certainly a lot of points that could be on the line for this game. Last week, we both got an all-time low. You had 24 points. I had 25 out of 50 as well. So we only got around halfway or so. So this week, we're both hoping, I think, both able to get 30 or so points here, maybe a little bit higher.
I mean, look, with the hope here. I mean, it's one of those where I would assume we would get 30 and above, because it's both teams would put out their best teams, but you never know. It's Ian Foster. He has put his surprises up his sleeve. So we'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed, and it should be a very exciting matchup, and we are only a few days away. We are filming this video on a Monday, so we have still got a little bit of time until we get to see that starting lineup and reserves for the All Blacks, which will be announced on Thursday. But nonetheless, that is going to be the end of this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to check out Rugbyitch as well. We have got one more match of this series as well, the next week's game up against the Springboks, where we will try and predict it once again. And who knows, maybe we could have a perfect 50 coming up very soon and a series win as well. But thank you for coming on to the channel, mate. I saw those fingers crossing there. Hoping for the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. Yeah.
No worries, but nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in, and we will see you all for the next one. Springboks normally go with a 6-2 split, but maybe they'll switch it to a 5-3 this week.
There's no way. There's no way. I mean, I'm sorry. We can obviously discuss All Blacks and all that, but Springboks, they'll never switch to a 5-3. They'll never do it.